Hey, everybody. Hopefully you're having a good day, killing it. And if you're having trouble not knowing what to do, you're a brand new investor, let me help you out a little bit. So I was reading through the comments. It says, "Hi, Andy. Some viewers may be very new to investing and might like to know things about what broker to use, fees they should expect, what questions to ask the broker, and so on. Would make for some good content to hear your side of this." So this is what anyone who trades a lot of stocks, and if you're buying what's considered over-the-counter shares, they're OTC. They're not traded on the New York Stock Exchange. They're not traded on the NASDAQ. They're not traded on any of these things. They're called pink sheets, some of them. So they're called over-the-counter. And you have to meet certain requirements to list, and it costs a lot of money to list on the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ Stock Exchange, or even the American Stock Exchange. So these are different exchanges, but a lot of these stocks that we're purchasing are over-the-counter shares. Sometimes they don't trade over an exchange. They might be from a broker to a broker directly or something like that. So when you look at brokers, sometimes they charge a lot of fees to do transactions for these over-the-counter shares. So what I do and what some other people do is you end up with multiple brokerage accounts. Because some brokerages charge fees, some of them don't charge fees, and some have different fees. So what ends up happening is that the majority of us end up with 3 or 4 different brokerage accounts. And those accounts from different brokerages, typically so my favorite is Fidelity. It doesn't charge a fee for trading, but sometimes it charges a $50 settlement fee if you go to purchase something like Baseload or Deep Yellow or some of these other companies. Now, if you open up an account with Charles Schwab and you have an account with them, they don't charge the fees. But they don't have some, like for instance, if you try to buy Bannerman through Charles Schwab, they don't allow you to buy Bannerman or Baseload at all. But they don't charge you a fee for Deep Yellow. So then you go over to TD Ameritrade, and perhaps you can buy it through them, and their fee is only $7.95. And it's like, dang it. So you end up with all these different accounts with all these different companies in them based off of the fees that they charge. So the 3 that I've been using have been Fidelity, Charles Schwab, and TD Ameritrade. And Robinhood won't even allow you to buy any of these OTCs. They mainly restrict you to, I would say, the New York Stock Exchange, American Stock Exchange, and NASDAQ listed companies. So a lot of these companies that I have that I'm putting up and charting are OTC companies, and it's just cheaper for the companies to have investors invest in their company through that, we'll call it OTC exchange. They don't have to meet all these strict requirements. Doesn't mean that the company is any less worthy than your money, for your money for investments. So those are the 3 that I kind of know quite a bit about. Robinhood, you can't buy half these companies in Robinhood. So those are the brokers or brokerages that I use. The fees, you're going to have to type in the ticker symbol. You're going to have to preview to see what they charge for a fee. What I use for most of these, since we'll call it smaller companies, and they are more so restricted they're not as liquid, I should say. They're not nearly as liquid. So I use buy limit orders. So I make sure that nothing gaps way up on me. So I would recommend that everyone uses a limit order when purchasing these lower, we'll call it less liquid companies. So I'm using buy limit orders. When you go to sell, I would use sell limit orders, just the same way as a buy limit order. Let me think. So we've got that. That's covered. So those are the brokerages. Those are the brokers that I use. They're all pretty good. I would say Fidelity probably is the best that I know of the ones that I've used. I've used that one the longest. Now, there's also different accounts that you can open up. You can open up a Roth IRA, which is if you make under a certain amount of money, you can use that. You put after-tax money into the account. That account grows, and it grows tax-free, and you can take it out without being taxed. That's a Roth IRA, but you can only put in, I think you can put in $6,000 or $6,500 or $7,000 this year into it. It keeps going up each year. I don't know what the exact amount is. You can open up an individual account. You can take that money out, no problems. Doesn't matter, any age, but it gets taxed on your gains. So that's a taxable account when you go to sell your shares. You're gonna, if you have a profit, you're gonna get taxed. Now, if that stock was held less than a year, I think it gets taxed as income. And if it was held longer than a year, then it gets taxed at a lower rate, which is, I think, is still 15%. I'd have to look. And remember, I'm not a tax specialist. I use TurboTax for my taxes. So I do it myself through TurboTax, and I import my tax information from Fidelity. It's been pretty easy. And then let me think. Nothing much else above and beyond that. So if you guys have any other questions, leave them in the comment section. Maybe I'll do a video on it and try to answer all your questions. But I have 3 accounts, and I do have Roth IRAs, and I do have individual accounts. And you can also roll over, if you have an old 401k, you can roll over it into one of these accounts, and you can trade individual stocks if you want to. It's up to you. And I've done that with some of my older 401ks. Hopefully you guys like this information. Give me the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.